This one thing should make you question the moon landing. Here we have our CGI generated picture of Earth. So we have this thing around Earth called the Van Allen belt, and it's basically a belt of radiation around the Earth's atmosphere. So this radiation belt has a very high temperature. The temperature can vary depending on where you are in the belt, but it's between 2,000 and 20,000 Kelvin, which is hotter than Fahrenheit. This is the Apollo 11. This is the shuttle that we landed on the moon with. So looks aside, this is mostly made up of aluminum. The melting point for aluminum is 933 Kelvin. Now remember, the lowest temperature anywhere in the Van Allen belt is 2000 Kelvin. So the lowest temperature within the Van Allen belt is more than double the temperature at which aluminum starts to melt. And it goes all the way up to 20,000 Kelvin. I could go on for hours about the moon landing and all of the weird things about it, but let me know what you guys think about this. Elon created all of this drama for weeks about this rocket launch. The entire week leading up to this rocket launch, I was seeing articles every single day of them saying, oh, like it's not federally approved yet and it's supposed to launch in 3 days, and Elon's saying he's going to launch it anyways, he doesn't care, and blah, 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 blah. I just finally took the time to watch the footage of it. Not only is it obvious CGI projections, like the whole entire graphic is glitching out, but the footage of it coming down is a perfect reversal of it going up. Like the way that it comes down doesn't even make sense. NASA gets over $70 million a day of taxpayer money. And not only are they not going to space, they know that most of us are so brainwashed that they don't even have to pay for good CGI. They could give us literally anything at this point, and because it has the NASA stamp on it, people will inevitably believe it. Like they could put out a cartoon, and I mean they have before and people believed it. In my opinion, they need to be completely defunded because they don't do any of the stuff that they have the general public thinking that they do. They're like exploring the pyramids in Cairo, which they for some reason own the rights to. This is for entertainment purposes only, and these are strictly my opinions.
Stop what you're doing, because what you're about to see right here doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Right now is a Mars rover supposedly landing on Mars. But the thing is, you see all that wind blowing off, all the dust blowing off of the surface of Mars? Can you tell me how this is actually possible when Mars is a CO2 atmosphere of virtually nothing? It contains like 1% CO2 and then nothing else. It's almost an empty vacuum, very close to being an empty vacuum. So can you tell me how there was wind blowing off of the surface of Mars when if you mimic the atmosphere of Mars in a container and try to blow a feather with a fan, the feather won't even move? Not to mention the fact that when you actually look at Mars with your own camera or telescope, you can see that it doesn't look like a solid object. It looks like one of the luminaries in the firmament above. But of course, I'm just being sarcastic. Of course, Mars is a giant solid rock in outer space. And of course we've been to Mars multiple times on our little rover missions. That's why all the rover missions are animated, because that makes total sense. If they're actually getting real videos and footage of being on Mars, of course we'd have to turn it into some CGI crap. But of course, even though this is all CGI, it's real, because it's representing what actually happens in outer space. Because we all know space is real, and this video was for entertainment purposes only.
I just realized something crazy about NASA. So at this point, most of us know that NASA translates to deceive in Hebrew. I always thought that they did that like just because it's satanic, like they're just lying to lie. But no, they started drip feeding us the great deception from the Bible in the 50s. We're like a frog in water that they're slowly turning the heat up on, because you wouldn't be able to deceive people on such a grand scale overnight. For it to be truly deceptive, it takes a really long time. They've been chipping away at biblical cosmology for almost 100 years now, so that when these aliens come, most of the world is going to truly think that they're aliens from outer space. The coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan with all power and false signs and wonders, and with all wicked deception for those who are perishing because they refuse to love the truth and to be saved. The passage suggests that a figure empowered by Satan, remember, the NASA symbol has a serpent tongue on it, will deceive many through signs, wonders, and lies. I don't know, maybe this isn't like the revelation I think it is, but I have been thinking about this all wrong this whole time. I genuinely thought that they were just like another agency that's lying to us and stealing our money. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is all satire.
This is proof that we live on this, and not on this flying water ball with curved water, using the Bible.
We're in Job 37:18. Hast thou with them spread out the sky, which is strong and as molten looking glass.
Hence why they try to break it in Operation Fishbowl. Operation Fishbowl is a series of high-altitude nuclear tests in 1962 that were carried out by the United States, also known as Operation Dominic. Dominic meaning belonging to the Lord.
From Proverbs chapter 8, verse 27, when he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth, depth referring to the sea. Verse 29, when he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment.
What is this compass that God placed upon the face of the earth to stop the waters from exceeding his commandment? But what's another word for compass? Boundary. A boundary is the Antarctic ice wall surrounding us, keeping the waters from exceeding God's commandment. You guys can either trust God's word or your buddies at NASA that wear Freemason rings and throw up weird signs like this.
If you take this picture here, an outdoor set, and the contraption or the crane with the ropes are ready to take off this lunar lander, so take this picture into Google Lens and you got all of those sources where this picture was used, and you got a blogger, and this is interesting. This is from NASA.gov, and you can clearly see this lunar lander with this contraption for the crane take off from the moon surface. I translated to English, this is in German, the first moon landing, Apollo 11. And now let's click on this, and here we go. You are on the original official NASA.gov history page in German, Deutsch. And this is a journal of the moon exploration from Apollo 11. It's a complete journal from the moon landing. So somehow this picture is completely linked with the official NASA.gov page, inclusive this picture here, as you can see. It's very interesting, right? There are many interesting pictures here. See here again, from another point of view, this contraption here and those ropes which goes up, and the huge crane is above, and then it's ready to take off. You can see here it's an astronaut, right? Yeah, without a helmet, of course, because it's on Earth.
Approaching the moon surface.
They created a huge painted canvas and hung it from the ceiling. They also had a mobile camera on rails and could move the camera up to the screen to mimic the landing. This is the true magic of the moon landing. To be honest, it was a true masterpiece of the technology of the time. This is the result, the approach to the lunar surface, original footage. Bonus, take a look at this picture of Apollo 17 from ESA, European Space Agency. Notice the different colorization of the background and the foreground, because this here is a real set, is a real stage, real rocks. This whole rock formation is real, but the background, inclusive the astronaut, is just as part of a frontline projection screen. Notice there is no depth, stones, the shadows, everything here, it looks like flat because it is. It is just projected to a frontline projection screen. I'm going to paint where the difference is. Everything above this red line is just the screen, and everything below the line is the set with the real objects. You can see everything below this line is a real set, everything above this line is just a projection screen.
Apollo 11.
There is Stanley Kubrick and there is the Apollo 11 logo on the camera. Here is Stanley Kubrick examining the first footprint of the man walking on the moon, Neil Armstrong. There is Stanley Kubrick and a set with an astronaut on wires. Here is Stanley Kubrick from the front. There is another view of the set with a lunar model and operators in front of, a huge moon model and an operator with camera. Artists who are painting the moonscape on huge canvas. Another view of the moon simulator and an operator in front of, rails for a moving camera, filming the models to simulate approaching the moon surface, while the models were on the left and on the right side of the rails, and the canvas was on the top. Here the camera is filming the top, so the canvas on rails. Artists are painting the canvas, and there is the canvas hanging from the top side. So the moving camera on rails below this canvas can film this, and this is what it looks like. Here is the moving camera on rails, filming the canvas.
Invisible force.
Look again. It's like Something is pulling the astronaut to the front. Look at the moves of the legs. Something is pulling him to the front. So it's like an invisible power. What is going on up there? Everybody knows that they trained low gravity on Earth, but on the moon there should not be wires. Of course, there are ways you could simulate a moonwalk, like shown in this animation with a huge set, a counterweight at the other side, so you can hop your way through the terrain, simulating low gravity on a wire. But this here is just an animation. See the invisible power here. Very strange movement behavior. Look, it's like he's fighting against the force the whole time. And I mean not the lunar gravity. Strange.
Look at that. It's completely flat. Flat Earth. Yeah?